Alright guys, we're working on an 05 Chrysler Sebring. The customer is telling me that she's driving along and the car just overheats. It doesn't even have to run for 2 or 3 minutes and it overheats. So we're going to get her in, pressure test it, and let's see what we got. Check to see if there's any coolant in the car. Somebody has been putting some stop leak in this, looks like. And there's definitely nothing in the car. Put some coolant in the car and let me pressure test it. We'll get some water in this thing and we'll see where the leak is, if it has a leak. This vehicle here, when you go to fill it up, it's got a bleeder valve on it, so you're going to have to bleed it. She's sucking up some fluid. Just about a gallon low. It never fails though. As soon as the weather starts to change, you start seeing a ton of cars come around with bad heater hoses and overheating. Alright, let's get the tester on here. See what we got. I'm gonna try to get about 15 to 20 pounds of pressure in it. Get a little more fluid. All right, good and tight. Try it again. Boom. We have liftoff. Hey guys, easy enough. Looks like it's going to be just a hose right there. See it right there? Alright, we'll put that lower bypass hose on. Fill the fluid, pressure test it, and see what happens. The bad thing about it is they were putting stop leak in this thing to try to stop a leak like that. So that is not necessary. So before you go do something like that at home, make sure you get it checked out. Alright guys, let me show you what I found. This hose right here, this is the part number to the hose. I'll put a link in the description where you can get it at. But it is located right under the radiator hose, just off the thermostat housing. It loops around, goes into a metal pipe which feeds your heater core. That's how you get your heat. That line was leaking. One thing, when you go to put that line back on and we fill the system, there's a bleeder valve located right here. And I'll show you how to do that so you don't have any air in the system. The one thing I did notice is she had put a stop leak in the car because it was all around here to try to stop that leak. That's something that's not going to fix a leak like that. It'll fix a radiator and possibly a blown head gasket, but it is a temporary fix. It's something that will definitely leave you stranded in the future and could cost you more money. I am not a big fan of stop leak. Alright guys, let me get the part ordered. We'll get it on the car and I'll show you how to bleed the system. Try and get it with a pair of needle nose first. It's got one of those squeeze clamps on it. If not, I got the tool to do it with, but sometimes it's easier to use a pair of needle nose. Alright, that's not going to work. Tool number 3. Oh man, you know it looks like it's not gonna let me cheat. We'll pop off the upper radiator hose real quick. You know, always try to think ahead. When you go back with this clamp right here, put it in the position that if you ever had to work on it again, you don't have to remove the upper radiator hose. If they would have moved the clip down this way just a little bit more, we wouldn't be having to do this. Let's see if I can get in it now this way. Alright, that's that one. Like I said, if they'd have put this clip on down that way, just a little bit more that way, you wouldn't have had to take your radiators off. But they didn't do that. This one here is going to be fun. Jack way down inside there. Opposite side of where it needs to be. Start off with some needle moves. I got the clip off. Now we just gotta get the hose off. It's just stuck on there. Get a little screwdriver and pry on it. Damn! Cut my damn finger. Alright guys, there you go. Alright guys, I got the hose in and I have the clamps situated kind of where I want them. The next bit of advice I'm going to give you is when you put it on there, if you just take a little bit of wheel bearing grease and just put a little bit on the inside of each hole, when you go to slide it on, it will not fight you. If you don't do that, a lot of times when you're going back with them, they just fight you going on. But if you do that, they'll slide right on with ease. Lower one on first here. Slid right on. I went ahead and moved this bottom clip to the outside. This way when you're going back, it's easier to go on with it. Other than that, you'd be fighting it. Like the last time they had it shoved up against the overflow jug, which is kind of silly. Slide it down on here. Good to go on that one. We'll slide this one on. Alright, got that on. Let's go ahead and get the upper radiator hose on. Alright guys, now that we got the hose on, we're going to go ahead and fill the system. And like I was telling you earlier, you need to bleed it. This is the bleeder valve. Take it 10 millimeter and just loosen it up. Make sure you have the correct coolant when you go to do this. You're going to fill this up until a steady stream comes out of the hole. I'm going to use a fill tool, and like before, I'll put links in the description where you can get this tool at. It is a great tool to have when you're doing this. I usually fill it up till it comes to about here. Right. You see that steady stream coming out? Now we're going to close it off. I'm going to fill this up to right about here and then start the car. And with this tool on here, we're going to let the fan cycle at least one time and check the heat inside the car. And then when you go to pull it out, you stick this in here and pull it out. Don't waste anything. Alright, let it sit here and run until the thermostat opens up. It'll suck it down some. Make sure the fan cycle, and we'll test the heat in the car. Alright guys, the fan just cycled on. And this still feels kind of cool. So it's probably got a little bit more to go on filling it. Let's go check out the temperature gauge. Where are we at here? About a quarter. We'll add some RPMs to it. It's not blowing super hot. It's still blowing lukewarm, so I know that thermostat hadn't opened up all the way. Alright guys, I'm going to take this thing for a test drive. I want to make sure that the heat stays nice and hot and the gauge doesn't go past midways. That's where it's hanging right now. Alright guys, we just got back from our test drive. Everything checked out just fine. Got a tip for you. Winter's coming. Make sure you check your radiator, your hoses, and your belts, and your coolant. Make sure everything looks good. You don't want to be stranded nowhere. Also, I have a video coming out. Things you should keep in your car during wintertime, especially if you live in a state with a lot of snow. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Appreciate you watching. Catch you later.